Hi, good morning, good evening. As per your time zone, I'm Kumkum Sharma from Bridge, and I'm back again on my live open session episode 34. I would like to welcome you all here. And before starting this session, once again, I just wanted to share the thought process behind these sessions. So, these sessions, as I always mention this thing, the agenda is not driven by me, agenda is driven by you. By you means the by professionals, the people who wants to ask questions, the people who wants to grow in their career path, and they have some queries, they have some questions about the right training, right certification. This is the forum for you, this is the session for you. You can raise your concerns, raise your questions, ask what is the best certification for you, and clear your queries. I invite the experts in this session. Maximum time Saket is giving me opportunity and he's giving his time. So now let's not waste more time. I know you all have questions. You can ask questions. How you can ask questions? It's very easy. Format. Just no matters whether you're watching from LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, you can drop your questions, your queries in the comment section. I'll add your questions and Saket will answer your questions. And we have some, questions in our database. People, on LinkedIn or sometime on calls, they discuss their queries with me also. I'll add my questions as well. But yeah, first, I think let's start the session. So, Saket, thank you very much
Great. Yeah.
for taking out time for this session. So, how you would like to start the session today?
So it's great. I think we wait for a while and see if we have some questions coming from community. Yeah, and we can take care of those. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. As we discussed in our last session, that we are pretty much excited to talk about the mentorship and program which we have started. Kind of, we call it industry enabled program. So the first batch is going to start. Official first batch is starting this Saturday, which is tomorrow, and yeah, I think this is what we are newly doing, and we see that in the industry also these kind of programs are nowadays getting introduced. Many other providers are also bringing up such kind of industry programs. So that's uh, information from our side. And yeah, so if anyone has a query related to a particular certification program or things which we do, we are limited to more on project management, Scrum, scaled agile space, Kanban, so agile coaching. So if you have any query, certification, or a process of taking these certification, as well as the career prospects related to these areas, probably we can talk and share our ideas. So that's something we can do. Now, in order to do that, you just need to put your comment in the yeah in the YouTube. If you are watching it from the YouTube, I see many of you are doing it there. Or if you are watching it from LinkedIn, you can do it there as well. Yeah, whichever platform you are using. So we have a first question to start with, and we start from here. So why many IT organizations write job description for Scrum Master but start asking question more related to project management manager profile? So I usually believe in the role depends upon the organization rather than some standard body which defines something. Now, each organization may have a different implementation for or expectation from different roles. That's why people get paid differently, people get evaluated differently. So we can't have an industry standard for a one role. There are additional things, there are things which organization may expect from their Scrum Master. So what usually you need to see is that there is a one role which is a Scrum Master. There could be some additional things which might be needed by the organization. What we usually observed is, especially the IT service organization, they may want to have a leadership person, the person who can facilitate, collaborate, and lead the team. And there is a possibility tomorrow that person may work into generic project management space. Today, the person might be working where the Scrum is getting used. And along with taking care of team leadership, the person may have to do few more other things. And that's why usually in the service organization space, the project management roles and responsibilities start getting added to a person, not a Scrum Master role, but to a person who is playing the Scrum Master role as well. So that's a possible reason. But yeah, uh, Okay, so that's what I can share here. Do you have any plan to start in-person session in Pune? We do hope so. We start soon. We experimented in-person session in Delhi, I think last month in the May, and we have a plan to do some more sessions in Delhi, CSM session in the coming months. We are also planning one agile coaching session in Bangalore. So hopefully the things get stabilized, and we do want to take a lead in starting these sessions. So we are experimenting, and gradually we will start with Hyderabad, Pune locations as well. Yeah. Okay. So what about this industry program? How would the session is conducted to give a practical knowledge? So it's like this. When you go for a Scrum Master class, you learn what is Scrum Master roles and responsibility and Scrum theories. Now, when you go for a real Scrum Master job, they expect you to apply some tools, they expect you to apply some hands on reporting, Excel sheets, and do things which are needed for executing the Scrum Master role. So, in an industry program, we primarily talk in the language of tools, in the language of reports, in the language which is usually discussed, the technical language, the terms which are usually commonly used in the industry. So it is primarily meant for those people who have not yet done the Scrum Master role in the industry. They might have acquired the theoretical knowledge, but they may want to understand what are the things which are really in use in industry. We also help you to really feel the Scrum events, facilitate some of them, have a case study based approach of doing some of those Scrum events, and also have a good hands-on on tools like Jira in order to ensure that you can perform your role as a Scrum Master. So it's an additional of some hands-on stuff, it's an additional of tool, and teaching the things which is more practical in nature rather than idealistic in nature as taught in various theoretical classes. Yeah. So that's something I can tell about industry thing. Uh, so the another question is the difference between Prince2 and PMP. So that's something we are not like specialist in PMP, but we can say, sorry, Prince2, we can say about PMP. So PMP is pretty much recognized project management certification program global. Prince2, as much I understand, is a standard which is pretty much common where people are working in the government projects in UK and Australia where they need to follow Prince2 standards. That much I can understand. Both helps you to manage your projects well. The current PMP exam includes lot of agile content as well. So you may want to check a little bit more about Prince2 here and there. Okay, so now I'm already PMP certified, and should I need to do SAFe POPM? So the SAFe program, especially the role-based program like Scrum Master, product management, all those things are more suitable for those individuals who are working in a safe environment. Yeah. So if you have done PMP, you understand project management, but you may not understand how the role of a product manager or a product owner is expected to be done in a safe context. So if your organization is working in a safe context, and you are expected to play the role of product owner or product manager, then you need to understand what is expected from me, what need I need to do, what is a feature, what is a user story, what is a team backlog, what is a program backlog, how do we prepare for PI planning meeting, what is PI planning meeting. So these all things are not taught in the PMP. The PMP program is a generic project management program where we understand how typically the project is expected to be planned and executed. Typically, yeah, the specific details of a particular way of doing is not covered in PMP. It's a generic thing, specific person has to create it. Whereas a SAFe is a one way of doing work in an organization, not necessarily using project. And when the organization is using SAFe style of working, then we need to, and you are playing a role in that SAFe style of working, then you need to do a SAFe role specific certification. Now the Scaled Agile also has a educational program where people are curious about SAFe. They may want to do some SAFe related job later on, but as of now they don't have a clear idea what they are going to do in a SAFe, but they want to learn it. For that, the SAFe has a program called Leading SAFe, which comes with the SAFe Agilist certification. And that program is meant to educate you on SAFe. which is very much different than project management. It's a particular way of doing solution development. It's a particular way of enabling the agility overall in the organization. They use a term business agility for that. So if you want to know SAFe, do a leading SAFe program. If you are already working in a SAFe context, do the role specific program, be it POPM or a Scrum Master. And it has a very less overlap with what you learn in the project management. Yes, the concepts like estimation, planning, stakeholder management, risk management are pretty much universal. They come everywhere, but rest of the things are pretty specific when we look at SAFe. Okay, so which one is better among CSM and SAFe? I think I partly covered that. So I would say that if you are very new to agile way of working and you probably start working in a small Scrum context, then better to do a CSM certification, yeah, rather than directly going to SAFe. If you go for a SAFe certification without having Scrum fundamental, though you can do it, yeah, the Scaled Agile welcomes anyone doing it, but it might be very difficult to appreciate the whole concepts. Yeah, so it's a good idea to start with CSM before you jump to any a SAFe program. Yeah, especially I'm talking about leading SAFe. If you are doing SAFe Scrum Master, if you are already working as a Scrum Master in a SAFe context, then you can directly do a SAFe Scrum Master also, because you already working in a SAFe. You just need to know your role in a SAFe context. Then you can directly go for SAFe Scrum Master. So if you are working in a small team as a Scrum Master, go for CSM. If you aspire to work as a Scrum Master, go for CSM. If you're already working in a SAFe context as a Scrum Master, then go for SAFe Scrum Master. Okay, so somebody got question asked in the interview, how would you describe agile to your grandmother? I see maybe they just wanted to see how well you can communicate things. So it all depends. I think your style of communicating agile in a simple word may vary. In general, we have various videos talking about describing agile in a 1 minute, describing agile in 2 minutes. But I recommend, rather than picking up somebody's ideas, you pick up how do you see agile. Yeah? What is the simplest way you see agile? The way I see it, it's all about continuous learning. So rather than assuming a lot of things and start working on it, we are doing small and we learn as we do things. That's it. That's what I believe it. So in a predictive life cycle, we need to use our old learning and work based on that. Here we are learning at each step. That's what I stress upon. There could be other areas somebody else may want to stress upon. Yeah. So as I said, Prince2, we have less expertise, so I won't be able to comment about the difference between Prince2 and Prince Agile. So that's something I skip. Yeah. Now, any certification training available for Jira and Confluence? So the Atlassian, they runs various certification program. Yeah. And they have their video content as an Atlassian university where you can learn their video content and go for an exam. They run a proctored based exam. So what you need to do, you pick up the certification, like they have a ACP 620, ACP 120. So there are various things. So managing is a 620, and mastering cloud administrator, there is a 120. I might be missing names here and there, but I think that's the number. Yeah, 620 and 120 seems to be pretty common. So one can go and prepare for it. What I have observed based on our colleagues finishing the Atlassian certification, it is not a simple or a straightforward thing, especially when you talk about ACP 120. It requires good amount of hands-on expertise in Agile, Jira way of working, configuration and Jira rights management and properties management. You get fine-grained, nitty-gritty kind of question, which properties where and how to set up those properties and all. So if you keep working in the Jira space and you learn all those things, then you probably will be able to do it. Yeah. So process is simple. You go to Atlassian and you purchase the exam voucher and the learning content, and based on that, you can get ready and give the exam. I don't see any training organizations as of now facilitating and conducting that particular programs. We also not doing it, because we believe that might be too much of investment for a general professional to invest, yeah, on learning a particular tool. But if these things get changed and we may pick up a once relatively simpler certification, we might come up with some program at a later stage. But as of now, we don't have a program for Atlassians. Yeah. But yeah, the Atlassian University has all those things. So asking PM with Scrum Master. So as we discussed, that could be a possibility nowadays because people are expecting multiple role from multiple people here. Okay, so what type of reports metrics we present to CXO, CEO, or stakeholder other than the velocity burndown chart and other Jira dashboards? Okay, so the simple thing is the matrices are mechanism to serve somebody's interest. Yeah. So who is your CXO and who is your CEO and what is their interest? Now, is this, you can say, oh, all CEO has the same interest. May not be true. Like, if I am a CEO of a service organization and I have a one team which is working for ABC client, and my ABC client pay me based on the velocity this team produce. So my interest would be that this team produce high velocity. And my interest would be in the reports. I see what was the velocity because I get paid based on that. Yeah. So what is your value? For me, I'm a CEO of multiple teams and these teams are working for different clients. But my value is based on the velocity and the timesheets. Because if I have all billed hours, I get the money. So I might be interested in those kind of results too much. I might be also interested in that, do we have a customer satisfaction at an appropriate level or do we have some escalation coming from customers? So as a CEO, I will be happy if I see my billing number is up and my customer is happy. Yeah? So I need to see that particular matrix. Now, if you are a CEO of a company where you have your own website and that website is made by your team, and your team is building all those products and services, and there are other websites and other applications also which are supporting it, and I am looking at the report. Now what do I do with your burn down chart there? What do I do with your velocity? Your velocity is of not of much use for me. What is more interested for me is that how well we have addressed some of the burning demand and how much money we have made because of improvement in our softwares. So I might be focusing on, oh, I have a customer problem. Customer used to take 10 days to finish the particular request. Now, have we done it in 3 days time? So my focus would be, what are we getting out of that delivery? So my matrices will be more value oriented matrices, like what all features has been found successful in the production, what all new feature request has we have received, and what is the potential of those features by like what all we can do to make more money. So what are the potential features which are coming, how the previously done features are doing, and what we have learned which helps us in deciding the roadmap and the direction for our future work. So as a project manager slash scrum master or whatever I am, I need to see whom I am presenting and what is their pain area and how can we solve their pain area, or how can we get a feedback, or how can we support a decision making? How can we tell the person, should we do something about it here, or should we continue the way we are working? On the basis of that, your matrices will get derived. Yeah. So that's the one. Okay, so what certification do you suggest for Kanban way of working for project management? So we are part with the Kanban University, so we run Kanban management programs, so KMP1 and KMP2. As Sanjay keeps saying, I think two weeks ago, he also came in this session and explained those programs well. And he keeps stressing on, which is the first one, the KMP1. I think it is called Kanban System Design, if I'm not wrong. So that's the program which we recommend. It's a 14-hour program. You can study, and based on that, you can experiment, and it's a good enough information to make good use of Kanban. Okay, so working as a BA with certification career guidance after onwards. So if you are working in a business space, and you want to focus on product ownership, the things, so there are two ways of doing. One is that learning the detailed tools and techniques of doing business analysis, understanding how to conduct interview, how to run a brainstorming session, how to prepare a, say, affinity map, how to create say, various kind of flow charts and diagrams to analyze and observe what is happening in the customer space or a user space. So learning more and more elicitation technique. Now, if you want to get into those detailed techniques to improve your design thinking and customer personas kind of understanding, then you may want to go for a specific business analysis program like PMI runs PMI PPA, and there is a CBAP program also. We run PMI PPA, so we are more aware of that. So this program tells you more detailed approach for how to do a business analysis. Now, once you have that skill taken care well, and you want to understand how to apply those skills in the context of Agile and Scrum, then we have a programs like CSPO. The Scaled Agile has their own program called SAFe POPM if you're working in a SAFe context. So my recommendation is that if you feel you are good with business analysis, you just want to understand how business analysis can be integrated and managed at the product level, you may directly go for CSPO. But if you find that I want to refine and understand the business analysis itself, with the help of learning various elicitation technique, then you may want to learn maybe with certification or just as a learning various business analysis tools, various observation tools with the help of PMI, PBA or CBAP, and then later on go for CSPO program. So we run PMI PBA, we run CSPO, we run SAFe POPM. So these are the Scrum Alliance also has advanced CSPO, which is also something which we run. Okay, so thank you for visiting our sessions for last 2-3 events. So how CSM is useful in jobs for a fresher who have not done any practical experience? That's the question. So what I see here is the CSM certification is a basic learning certification where a good percentage of time is going into learning Scrum. And then you focus on how to lead a Scrum team by way of facilitating. Now, should a new guy who is joining the organization go for CSM? It depends upon what is the objective. Do you expect that person will start leading the Scrum team by just doing CSM certification? Then it might be a wrong investment. But if you say that, okay, this seems to be a good learning platform to learn Scrum, then the person can go. And I see many such individuals getting there. Or your organization may design a one-day special Scrum introduction program for your new recruiters and recruitees, and then that program should be good enough. Or a new person might go into learn a Scrum guide by the internet as well, and that should be good enough to get started with Scrum way of working. Now, it also depends upon what this person who is entering in the industry is interested in. If the person is interested in pure development profiles, team members profile, then going for Scrum Master may not be a good idea. But if the person is more inclined towards coordination, facilitation, and even if he might or she might be entering as a team member, but want to support more the Scrum Master to get facilitation moving, so that the person wants to build the coordination and collaborative skills, then doing Scrum Master certification is a great idea, because you learn what are the leadership ideas, how do you do, and then you probably start knowing and facilitating and helping your Scrum Master in doing those activities. Okay, so that's all for now. We are done with our inventory as of now. So if you have any queries, so I just reset here. So this process is pretty simple. If you have just recently joined in, we just pick up some questions, we discuss those ideas. I may not have all the answers, but we explore. We explore, and then that's the whole thing. And if you have something which you believe I can share opinion on, then you can drop that in the chat section of this particular video, in the YouTube or in the LinkedIn, wherever you are watching from. So do you recommend A-CSM to learn practical Scrum knowledge? So the Advanced Scrum Master program from Scrum Alliance has been designed in such a way so they expect the persons to have a 1 year of practical knowledge. That's the minimum expectation they have. Now, when you come with that expectation, you don't get taught that thing. You get taught the advanced things there. So what usually happen, you go for a certified Scrum Master program, and that's a Scrum Alliance say kind of a roadmap looks like. You learn what is Scrum and what is Agile and everything. Then you start working as a Scrum Master. You acquire those skills, but you face various challenges. You have some confusions and doubts about how to do this particular thing because it is not working here. So now you come back and you want to learn and refine some of the impediments, some of the challenges which are probably related to facilitation, which probably related to coaching your senior stakeholder, which probably related to making team realize the importance of definition of done and coming up with the right definition of done. So that kind of discussion, that kind of brainstorming happens in the Advanced Scrum Master program, and it helps you to fix your Scrum and take you to the next level. So that's the plan. Now, it is not like teaching you from a practical perspective. Now, again, the word practical is very dangerous because each organization may work differently. So we may not have a practical experience. My practical experience may be a theoretical experience for you because we work in a different context. So when we were designing industry program, we were also struggling with the word practical and how do we introduce that. What we did it, we looked at the various job portals and looked at what are the things usually get asked, and then based on our customer experience, what are the things usually done by the Scrum Masters, and we bring those ideas and created the industry enabled Scrum Master program, which in our view is a practical Scrum program. The advantage of that program is we can change it. We can change inside the batch also if you have a new idea, and we can adapt to it as we see the industry trend changing. The certification program may not be that much dynamic when they are going through the changes. So that's something we can say that, yeah. Okay, so another question. So we are saying, I was thinking of doing business analysis and Scrum advice, please. So that's a good idea, as we have been saying. So the requirement elicitation and requirement discovery and continuously facilitating the implementation of those requirements and enabling the teams to learn from those requirements based on implementation experience is a role in a Scrum world is given to a term called product owner. So if you are expected to facilitate the product discovery, product features discovery and validation and business delivery, the product owner role is something which you can target to. And in order to do a good product ownership, you need to understand the business analysis, product ownership things, working and closely with the development teams. So if you have those ideas, you can do work in that space. We were getting these queries, and we also are connected with various people who are playing a product owner role in the industry. So what we have done, it's a not that much promoted program, but we are running a product ownership program as well, which is an industry oriented program, which talks about skills and things which you are expected to do as a product owner. And that program can help you if you want to get some of the skills which are in demand. For example, the most of the organizations, when you see a product owner job, they will ask for ability to write functional and non-functional acceptance criteria. Where you go for a product ownership training, you may not get that skill that easily. Most of the organization talks about ability to create wireframes. Most of the interviews will conduct it with the help of case studies, and wireframes are kind of part of that particular case study as well. So these kind of things which may not come directly in the generic training program, we are capturing them into industry enabled program. So two options. One is that you can get through the theory first with the help of CSPO. And if you want to see what is happening and you may want to work with someone who is working as a product owner, then you can explore our industry enabled program as well. Okay, so I don't have an experience as a project manager, but I'm working as a Scrum Master. So should I go for any training or a certification to acquire project management knowledge? Yes, the PMP certification is the best thing to do. And it requires leading experience, which you already have if you're working as a Scrum Master. So there is a good amount of overlap between the roles and responsibility and the skills needed for project manager and the Scrum Master. Both are expected to mentor, train, facilitate, stakeholder management, impediment removal, mitigating risk, communicating with inside, ensuring communication happening inside the team, ensuring communication happening outside the team. All these things are pretty much overlapped in the Scrum Master and product owner job responsibility. If I say, I'm not saying roles, yeah. What is usually added and more focused space in a project management is working with the external stakeholder, focusing on budgeting and contracting, ensuring the invoices are getting raised on time, taking care of external dependencies which might be coming from vendors and customers, and taking care of that outer view. Yeah, and sometimes even integrating with some non-agile and Scrum teams as well. Maybe you need to work as an integrator to provide the overall solution. So that's something get added, and learning those areas like procurement, risk, and overall chartering is something which you can do with the help of PMP certification. So there's a good place to get up these things ready for you. So do you have an industry orientation program for IT, retail, healthcare projects, etc.? So as of now, we are not specific to a domain. Yeah. So it's like that, okay, do we have a healthcare Scrum Master program and all? Usually the challenge which training or mentoring organization will face is that how to create a critical mass for such programs. But if you are interested, we can definitely find a mentor for you. So work with us. We probably will be able to discover someone who might be willing to give you a one-on-one mentoring. So if you send a detailed request to us, we will search in our possible mentors connection, and you can work with that person on a one-on-one basis. Not a training program, but the person can help you in understanding that particular context, or maybe getting ready for some of the queries and tools which might be used in that particular area. Yeah. So mentoring is possible, but training is required. A critical mass might not be possible as of now. Okay. Is there any specific technique to coach or teach stakeholders? Yes, very simple. Yeah, you can do it today. Listen to them. That's it. So the more you listen to them, they listen to you. Now, it's a very simple to say, very difficult. Yeah. So basically, we always want to influence other rather than appreciate somebody's view. So a good influencer, the people who can influence others, usually they are great listeners. So listening means I am not trying to change them. I am just trying to understand their view. I'm not trying to judge them. I'm not saying you are doing right or you are saying right or you are saying wrong. I'm just there, available to you and getting everything inside me. Now, what happens when that kind of things is done? You see the world from their view, because if you don't go there, you don't even see their view, their word. And once you don't see their word, how do you change or probably influence that word? So one of the best, many times we have a agile coaching program, we have a ICF coaching program, we teach those coaching skills differently. The agile coaching introduce the coaching, whereas ICF programs gets into detail of the coaching. But many times coaching people want to get some skills so that they can influence other, they can change other, they can do something with other. And many times it is associated with more and more ability to ask very powerful questions, and we have been talking, teaching and promoting it, but over a period of time I have learned it's more to do with ability to listen, ability to connect, ability to understand the feeling of the other guy, and then possibly trigger the thought process by way of showing the weaknesses in their thought process, which probably can influence them to do something about it. So that's something one can apply there. Yeah. Okay, so can PMP certification help the business analyst to be a project manager? Answer is yes. And when we launched PMI PABA program, we were very much excited about this program, and I was promoting it because I believe it's a program which should be the in demand for my business analyst colleagues, for my project managers and all. But over a period of time, I realized it didn't kick off the way we expected. The reason is most of my business analysts, yeah, most of them, when they wanted to study and invest, they want to get out of business analysis profile. They don't want it to continue. Like they want to become a project manager. So how do I inspire them to do something? So there is a very small percentage who wanted to get and specialize and improve their skills and add things there. And especially we are working in a service organization or a country space where people are working for others. In a product organization, the story might be different because people can look at a product management space and go forward. But in the organizations where someone is doing projects for someone else, then that becomes little tricky. So I see many of my friends, my colleagues are doing PMP certification and transitioning towards project management profile, because as a project manager it is expected to you have a good amount of business analysis skills, because the project management is no more limited to ensuring the scope is getting delivered in the deliverable. It is extended towards understanding the business case and ensuring your project always remain aligned to the business goal and the business case for which you have initiated the work. So we want to ensure the alignment, we want to ensure the quick, frequent feedback on it, and business analysis skills are pretty much in use when you do that kind of activity as a project manager. So it's a good way forward if you enjoy, if you aspire to get into project management space. So how experienced should be a Scrum Master to be and effectively lead the team? I would say it depends upon what organization is looking for. Yeah, many of you might have a situation in your team. There is a new guy, and everybody listens to him, and there is an experienced guy, nobody listens to him. So I believe influencing and helping people and facilitating is a skill, and it may not much relate to the amount of experience. Now, does the experience matter? Answer is there are various things which create trust. Yeah, you see someone, you talk to someone, and you only want to get influenced if you trust that guy, if you trust in his ability, and you feel the person is doing something good for you. Now, the one of the factor could be experience. If someone is experienced, maybe people are find easy to trust that guy because this guy has done multiple times. Probably I can trust him. So it works. Yeah. If the person has done a lot of education and certification, sometimes that makes other people trust the guy faster, and that works. But sometimes person may have a personality which exhibits the confidence and facilitation skills and helps the team in moving forward. That also builds the trust. So it depends upon how organizations are evaluating. I won't say that, there are organizations who want to trust based on your experience only, who want to see the credibility based on your experience only, that exists. But if you're running your own business, you may find a person who has never worked anywhere can still run a good business. And you can find someone who is worked for 20 years may struggle in running the business and leading the team. So actually, does it really matter if I had experience of leading the team before I really lead the team? I would say it's a combination of various factors, but yeah, organization will choose those the factors which they want to look into. Okay, so what questions to ask to a Scrum Master when starting as a new Scrum Master in the new organization? Okay, Scrum team. Okay, what questions to ask to a Scrum team when starting as a new Scrum Master in the organization? So we have been discussing this query in our Clubhouse discussion as well, because many of our Clubhouse participants are going through the space where they are joining the new organization and they are working to figure it out what should they do in the initial 10 days, 20 days and all. So I would say that you need to see various situations and have a different approaches for various situations. One situation could be that you are in the mid of the sprint. And another factor could be you are in the beginning of the sprint. So your behavior may your observation may be a little bit different. One situation could be the team is producing good and stakeholders are happy with them. It's a self-organized team already. Another situation could be that there is a crisis and everybody's complaining about this particular team. So that could be another situation. So what do I do? What do I ask? Depends upon the situation I am in. So what should I do? I should know the situation first. And that's why observing, listening, and doing your preparation seems to be the best thing to do whenever you enter in any space, any new space. Now, how do you do that? Maybe you start doing that preparation before you even join that particular team. Even if you are joining a new organization, you can learn about the organization, the people who are working in that organization, the type of challenges they are facing by talking. They might be sharing something on social media. A lot of things can be learned about the organization culture and your team member if you just observe their social media feed, be it a LinkedIn or Instagram or something. So you start developing that interest. Yeah, you start connecting those people and get those ideas. Now, once you get that, or assuming you join the team, then you have a lot of things to learn. You have a lot of documentation, information available, like your tools where the history of your previous deliveries are there, the history of retrospectives are there. You may want to just get immersed into it. You do a lot of observation, seeing what is working here, what is not working here, and then you start offering with your limitation. You know that I'm a new guy here, but you keep offering yourself, is there something I can do for you? Yeah, so you keep offering your services, and maybe and people will start asking you for help when they say that you are capable of helping them. Yeah. So how do you become capable? By knowing things. So you keep knowing and saying, you guys might be more and more advanced. I'm just observing, but do let me know if you feel I can help somewhere. So you build that trust, and once that is done, then probably you ask, what are the problem you guys are facing, and probably I can help. Yeah, probably I can facilitate in solving those problems as you go along. So with your skills and competencies, you become capable of solving your team's problem. And when you become a capable of solving your team problems, you ask them what problem they are facing. Yeah. Okay, so can a BA apply directly for project managers? I do see many BAs getting project manager opportunities in their own organization. Different organization as a first job, they may select you if you have a special differentiator. They might be working in a project where you have a good business analysis skill. They may select you. So you should have a reasons to make them not to select an experienced project manager and select you. So if you have those reasons for a particular job, they will hire you, or you probably try in your current organization to get into project management space. Yeah. So do you advocate using complexity point instead of man hours in story refinement? So usually it is recommended not to get into hours details till the time you know who is that person who is going to work on it. So if you say it's a 10 hours job or a 10 man hours job, I need to know who is that man who is going to take 10 hours for it. Now I would say, I don't know the man, but it's a 10 hours job. Then I think I'm creating unnecessary confusion for myself. Yeah. So we spoke about estimation sometime before as well, and we have 4 videos on story points. So I will recommend, if you are on YouTube, you search story point Eisenbridge, you will get the 4 videos explaining the whole context of estimation. But in general, we need to use something which relates to the complexity, but not necessarily relates to an hour directly. But there is a correlationship, may not be one-on-one relationship, till the time we don't have a person attached to the work. And as soon as we start getting a person attached to the work, we may start getting, okay, how much time do you think you are going to take it? Now it's a good question. Yeah, I can say, oh, I'm working on it. Yeah, when? Next week. Okay, now let me think of how much time I will take on doing it. So that's why that kind of a questions are expected to come in daily Scrum or in a sprint planning meeting. Doing those kind of question in a backlog refinement is not expected in a Scrum way of working, an Agile way of working, because we don't want to get into the detailed planning at that level, because we don't know will this story will really come in the next iteration or it will come sometime later. And whenever it will come, who will work on it? We don't want to get into that people planning as of now. If you do that, we are doing predictive life cycle that we used to do when we were doing predictive life cycle. We have a work breakdown structure, we divide it, we put the effort, and we put the person also, and we ask the person, is this looking good? And then we finalize the plan for next 3 months. So that's not expected in the Agile way of working. Yeah, but again, if you are doing it, you maybe have a reasons for it, but generally it may not be helpful generally. Yeah. Okay. So where do you see a product owner and Scrum Master roles overlap? Yeah, so there could be an impediment which product owner wants to get removed, and Scrum Master can do it. Yeah, that's the simple thing. Now we need to understand, when you go for Scrum training, when you go for Scrum guide, you understand someone as a product owner, someone as a Scrum Master, and there are boundaries and the areas defined. And there could be overall collaboration for or finding out details and other things which might be there. But there is a good amount of separation. Now, should we really work like that all the time? I would say that's a good thing to start with first month. So I need to ask, is this Scrum Master and product owner working in a first month, or they are working together for 6 months? Or how they are collaborating, they are fighting for their roles and responsibility, or they are collaborating well with each other. So if they are collaborating well with each other, if they are not finding it's your job and my job, then I want to let them decide and have a good amount of overlap. I want to have a more and more overlap. Yeah. So whoever feels I can do that job can do it. Another person is confident that other person is doing based on his best judgment. I can trust you writing user story for myself. I'll let you do that. But if that is not there, and many times in the initial stage that is not there, then you need to have a strong boundaries. This is your role, this is my role, and if you overlap my boundary, I will catch you. You don't ever, which is good. especially when you have a conflict because of role overlap, yeah, to start with. But if that situation remains forever, then it is not right thing to do. So whatever you read in your training or in your Scrum guide, it's good for your first month of working. Next month of working should come from your retrospective. So identify, do a retrospective, see the capability of both the people and identify where all we want to do an overlap, and keep doing, because you are learning based on your retrospective. Yeah. Okay. So any estimation technique that can be applied in Kanban, yeah, so you can apply. So what is Kanban? So Kanban is not about a particular way of doing things. It is more about adhering to the principles of the flow and visualizing your work. So Kanban has a collection of practices and principles which tells you to design your own way of working. So you need to design your own way of working, and you may come up with your own estimation technique if it is relevant for you. Yeah. Or you may decide not to do an estimation, you just focus on highly categorizing the work into small, medium, large, and going forward with that. So depending upon your context, are you applying in a flow mode or you are doing in a product development space, you need to design your Kanban system. So you can use your ideal days estimate, you can use a kind of t-shirt sizing estimate, you can do story pointing if you feel that's the right thing to do, or you can do something else, another XXX point estimate if that makes sense for you. In fact, Scrum also does not mandate you to use a story point. You can use any type of estimation in Scrum way of working as well. The only recommendation is don't get into the breakdown of people's hours and who is going to do what, because that amount of detailing is not expected to have into the system till the time we are not planning the work to an individual. So just don't allocate the hours and attach the person till the time person is not attached to the work. That's the only recommendation. But yes, the story point has been a little popular, and that's why everybody thinks that in Scrum we must use story points. In fact, Scrum guide may not have a story point as a word in that particular book, but yeah, that's how it is. Okay, so final 10 minutes, and we can say, can we provide story point for bug fixing? Depends. You need to find out what is the problem and what you want to achieve by doing it. So say if I have 100 bugs open, how do I estimate when they are going to finish? And if I do 50 bugs in this iteration, how do I know what is the quantum of work I have done? Or if I do a one story and create 2 bugs as a result of that story, and I had a 5-pointer user story, but I created 2 bugs, I says I have done 5-pointer work, but actually the 2 bugs has to be solved by someone else at some point in time. Is it a right 5-pointer, or you are adding the defect backlog more and more? So usually when you have a problem related to defect backlog, which is accumulating and there is some amount of quantification is needed, some amount of estimation starts coming for the defects, so that we really know how big the defect problem is for us, and we can start planning that work for a going forward activities. So that's the one possibility. You may give a half a pointer, 1 pointer story points, so that it helps you in improving your planning. That's a simple thing. Now, another possibility could be that you don't want to get into complexity of defect fixing and all. You may want to allocate some fixed capacity in your iteration for defects. You can say, okay, we have a situation, let's plan 20% for defect fixing, and we are not giving a pointers to it, but that 20% should take care of the amount of defects we are getting there. Then you may not do a estimation for or defect fixing. Many times, if your client is paying based on story point, then client will say never put a story point for a defect, because they are more interested in, is it a billing point or not billing point? So again, you need to see the context, but actually whatever the defect is, it is going to consume Steam's capacity and it is going to delay your deliveries. So you should have some mechanism to understand how much delay these set of defects are going to make for my delivery, what all I need to finish, and how and where my capacity is getting consumed. So you should have set some mechanism for it. Now you do it with a story point or you do with something else, which is perfectly okay as your team decide to do that. So as a Scrum Master, you should ensure that we should have a mechanism to handle it. Yeah. Okay, so towards the final 10 minutes, so we can say, is the agile transformation from waterfall to agile way of working is challenging? So I think it depends upon who is the organization and what they are going through. So say any change is challenging, and it is challenging in some organization, it is not challenging in many other organization. Changes are always happening in the society, and many organizations are trying to change you all the time. Yeah, someone wants you to drink a particular cold drink every day. That's the change they want. They want you to stop drinking A and start drinking B. That's the change they want from you. So similar, now how can they achieve it? It's a difficult job for them. They need to change your mindset and attach a different kind of a branding and feeling for a different drink. You have been attached to the previous drink. I need to work hard so that you start loving the new drink. So now, how do I do it? I may start advertising the old drink is harmful and new drink is good, and you may become health conscious and you stop drinking old drink and you start drinking new drink. There's a possibility, but there will be a good percentage who may not listen to it. So that the way real life works, our work life works also in a similar way. So whenever we are going from one way of working to another way of working, what is the value? Why are we doing it? And value is not something universal. Value is, do I value that? Do I care for it? So different people may have a different value. So do the set of individual really care for? I may value something which was happening before. Say I used to get 20 people reporting to me, and I could live and do the things without doing anything in the organization. I value that. And if the new work is coming, nobody reports to me and I need to do something, I will not like it. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So, but you may say the organization is going to save money of 20 people's salary. I says, okay, the organization saves 20 people's salary, but I need to work now. Earlier I was enjoying. So I don't value that. I don't value the organization money saving, but I value more about my enjoyment, which I was going through. So it's a little complicated stuff. So we need to figure it out. Who are the people involved? What is their values? And how can we influence and define that what is a value in the change? And how can we move the whole movement towards that? So depending upon the size of the organization, the type of the change, the type of culture they have, the type of people they have, which you have kind of accumulated over a period of time, one has to come up with the approach for handling these kind of movement. Yeah. And many times they are gradual movements, sometimes they are fast movements, sometimes they are superficial movements also, where it looks like change but nothing has changed inside. But it is something, I would say, depends upon a particular DNA of the organization. It might be very superficial to say that this can be done and this is hard or this is easy. It depends on who are the people who are involved. It is like a weight loss program. So it's like how easily you can influence people to lose a weight. You may have a book on it, you may have a diet program for it, you may have a training program for it, but can you make everybody really achieve benefits out of it? Maybe not. 100 people enroll to it, 10 people may drop out on the day one and later others will drop off. Someone may improve the lose the weight but accumulate again after 1 year. So it's the whole thing. So that's the now you can say it's a transformation, but yeah, it's also a transformation, and the organization also behave more or less like a human. So that's how it is, yeah, in my view. Okay, so PMI ACP in Delhi, that's the question coming in. So more and more online program nowadays, and I believe CSM might be a better idea for give you a good search results than PMI ACP. If you want to do something with PMI, do PMP if you have not done already. Because the current PMP contains good amount of agile, and I believe, my personal view, it's kind of overshadowing PMI ACP. So PMI ACP for good for those people who are not yet eligible for PMP and they want to do some leadership program from PMI, then you go for PMI ACP. But if you have a eligibility, then go for PMP certification. It contains the agile way of working as well as non-agile way of working in a pretty elaborated way. Especially the way we teach the good nitty-gritties of agile as well as non-agile way of working. Yeah, and it's an online program. It's a live virtual program. It runs because the classroom programs also has a limit of finishing in a short time span. So when we do a live virtual program, we can spread it across 6 weeks. Nowadays, we started moving 6 classes of 6 weeks, 6 hours. Earlier, we were doing 5 classes of 7 hours, but now we spread it further. And you have a 6 weeks time. Usually on Saturdays, there are events when we do Saturday and Sunday, only one weekend. But overall, it's a Saturday. And you get a lot of recommendation to do things during that time. So that's the something, yeah. things. And we will do some offline programs soon. Let's start with CSM first. Hopefully, this COVID thing will settle down. The new waves also settles down, and then looks all indicators are looking like positive. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. Good. So that's all about today's session. Final few minutes in case someone has something, because getting a question and answering also takes time. So we won't be able to take something more, but if it is something coming here, we can take it. So in the meantime, I would like to remind you, we have say Instagram channel as well nowadays, which is pretty active. So you can follow us, 𝐻𝐻𝐵 Official. That's an Instagram handler. And we do post small videos on project management, Agile and Scrum, those kind of stuff. You may want to check it out. So as I said that I'm not expert in Prince2, so that's something I can say. But PMP is definitely Agile. Yeah. So PMP, doing PMP for a project manager is a good idea if you aspire to get into project management job. Yeah, Prince2, I don't know. Yeah, we don't run as of now. Any events for SAFe, especially for PO? So if you are talking about certification program, then POPM is the event. Yeah, we keep doing that. That's something you can try out. If you are talking about something else like learning events or something, then I think we have not yet scheduled learning events because it was too cluttered, the online world. If you want to have mentoring for product ownership, then also we can assist. So we do run SAFe POPM class. You may want to check it out. Okay, so that's all for today. I can see we have a link also available for POPM. One can visit 𝐻𝐻𝐵.com. All these programs are listed. The industry-enabled program, the Scrum Master one, started well. We have also introduced a small Scrum process as well. And we have our POPM as a product ownership mentoring program as well. So the question is coming whether we should go for PMP traditional or agile. So there is no PMP traditional left. There is no availability. So there is only one PMP. At a given point in time, there can be only one PMP, and PMP is agile now. Yeah. So from January 2021, 50% of the PMP exam questions are coming from agile influenced area. So they call it adaptive life cycle. So it is pretty much agile. And it also helps you in learning how do you integrate the predictive life cycle, sometimes known as a traditional life cycle, with agile ways of working. So it integrates both of those words pretty well. So if you want to focus on facilitating and delivering value as a project, doing PMP is a good idea. Yeah. Great. So this all is done. So I think we are good to close, Kumkum. Yeah.
Perfect. I think very heavy session, lot of questions, and we have covered many things today. So, I mean, I wanted to ask you few things, but okay, I'll keep my questions for the next session.
Perfect. Yeah. We do that next
Okay.
session maybe. Yeah.
And when we have
And
next
people,
session, yeah,
I think that's the fourth Friday. No? Today is the second Friday. So
second
we have a
Friday
24th
on
June, which
24th
is
of
the
June.
fourth Friday. That's the next
Right.
session. And in between, people can choose to search us on Clubhouse. So if you are already using a Clubhouse app, you just need to search groups linked with 𝐻𝐻𝐵. We have a one group for Scrum related topics. We have another group for focused PMP conversation, where people who are preparing for PMP, they can do that. Yeah. So for next fourth Friday, the session timings remains the same. So whatever timing it was today, like in India, it's 7 p.m. So Friday, fourth Friday, which is 24th June, we do the same timing session again. And the Clubhouse sessions we usually do on Wednesday for Scrum, Thursday for project management, and we do it in India, it's an evening time, 6 p.m. So you may have a morning time if you are looking from US, and you can also listen to the playback replay of those conversation. Yeah. So that's another place to have a conversation with us. Great.
Perfect.
Thank you,
Sounds very
everyone.
great. And
Yeah.
tomorrow I am going to join industry enabled Scrum Master program first session. which we are starting tomorrow. And of course, in the next session, I'll share my experience, and with the help of collaboration tool, how we are making these sessions more collaborative, more effective for the people. I'll share that experience as well. So take care of yourself. Bye for now. Enjoy your Friday, and we'll be back again on 24th of June, same time. Bye. Take care.